One of Alicia's earlier doctors, not seen in this story, missed the symptoms of ovarian cancer, her severe bloating, constipation, bowel problems and hemorrhoids, despite knowing she carried a genetic time bomb.
I found out the 5 symptoms on the way to hospital to get my first surgery done. There was a poster on the elevator saying, ovarian cancer, if you're experiencing this and this, please see your GP about getting tested. There are the 5 things I was complaining to my GP about for 6 weeks, and he didn't pick up on it.
Hi, that was my sister Alicia. Very beautiful girl, still is a very beautiful girl. My name is Chrissy and I am a BRCA2 positive person and also a cancer survivor. So my story today, I wanted to come along and share. First of all, I can't believe when Trudy rang me and said, would you please come up and be our guest speaker? I listened to her story, and then you do what you do and you Google and you find out everything about a person, and I cried all night. I said to my husband, how can someone so amazing and be so giving really open up? And you know what she said to me? She said, I know your story, your sister's story all those years ago resonated with me. And I just thought, well, that was Alicia's legacy then, and it is now. She's still resonating with people. Trudy, your legacy now and for always will be resonate with people because you're a giver. And sadly, you know, the most kindest of hearts are put to the test, but that's life. I wanted to start off with saying that our lives are catalogued by dates and milestones. It used to be birthdays and calendar celebrations for us, as with most people here, but the last few years our calendars started to fill up with dates of diagnosis, surgeries, treatments, deaths and memorials. Never again will it be just birthdays and celebration dates for me. There will always be tinges of sadness for those who are not here, for the ongoing diligent behaviours we have become accustomed to in our family, being BRCA2 positive. But our story is no better or worse, no sadder or more inspiring than others. I do believe each person, each family with cancer in their life will show fear, strength, humour, tragedy and triumph, and sometimes all in one day. It's all relative. Over the last 10 years, we've had 4 double prophylactic mastectomies with my sister and I. We've had radical medical hysterectomies. We've had a BRCA2 positive diagnosis in every female in our family, and then the blow was to my son. He was positive as well. So now my grandchildren, Eli and Sarah, are also prone to this BRCA2 positive status. I'm not going to talk to you about percentages of being a BRCA2 or a BRCA1 or just a BRCA gene mutated positive person, because the statistics change all the time. Originally, when we found out about this in 2007, it was so shocking. It was 85 to 95% chance of us getting breast or ovarian cancer. And with those statistics, those odds, it was really, it was a no-brainer. We went in and we did the preventative surgeries, which, by the way, unfortunately back then were considered elective. So you had to pay for the privilege, which is really unfortunate. But science is always ahead of the medicine, and unfortunately when we have this knowledge of the science and the medicine hasn't caught up, we always have people like Trudy or my sister that have to be the face of the tragedy in order to push the message and champion the cause. So, you know, Ovarian Cancer Australia, what they're doing with such a small team is, you know, nothing less than miraculous, because 14 people in their team and they are touching people worldwide. Sure, they weren't there for Trudy when she first found out, but that was because there isn't enough funding in the world to have a clinical nurse based in every hospital to hold the hand of an ovarian cancer patient when she's first given that diagnosis. But there will be, so it just takes small steps, and that's what happens. Alicia was diagnosed, she was misdiagnosed actually for 6 weeks. She was treated for a compacted bowel, irritable bowel syndrome, you know, heavy on the turbs, bad diet, this, that and the other. For 6 weeks, as a BRCA2 positive recipient, she went to her GP, and even with that, he didn't have a protocol to diagnose her or do further testing. She even asked for a CA125 test, which is a blood test to check your tumour markers. She asked for that, and he said, no, you're too young, it's not an issue. So these things, these tragedies do happen. I would love for her message, for Trudy's message, and for all these wonderful women that are championing this cause for ovarian cancer. I would love nothing more for a national health database to be not opt-in, to actually be mandatory, that just like if you're wearing a bracelet to say that you're a BRCA2 positive or BRCA1 positive, a protocol will naturally jump up on the screen that doctor doesn't have to think about it, because GPs are so heavy with what they have to know. And I'm not blaming that GP for the misdiagnosis, but I would love nothing more for them to be able to go, you know what, this is the protocol for how to deal with ovarian cancer. This is the simple things. Let's rule out what can kill her before we treat her for all the other multiple illnesses that won't kill her. So had it been that way, turn it around, then so many women would be diagnosed earlier rather than later, because we don't have time. I have a massive little bits and pieces of notes here. I'm not a speech writing person, but there is a couple of things that I wanted to get across. One thing I've learned with having, in 4 years, my father passed away of cancer. The next year, my sister passed away of cancer. The following year, my mother passed away of cancer. Unfortunately, all in the same, well, fortunately or unfortunately, all in the same month. So we all have April each year that we kind of have shut down, lockdown time. And then I got cancer. So it became 4 and 4 years, and it was a life, it just consumed your life. It became, everything was no longer about, I can't even remember the birthdays of my kids and grandkids at the moment, but you'll always remember your oncology appointments or your radiation appointments or the anniversary of your mother's death or your sister's death. So, these things, it does change, but Mum always felt guilty that she passed down this gene. It came maternally down the line. But you know what? We always said to her, with all the faulty, messed up genes you did give us, she also gave us the genes of strength and resilience. And so that's why you're able to stand up and to share the message. And Sue said, Sue from Ovarian Cancer Australia said, that must take it out of you, talking about your sister and talking about your mum and your dad. Sure, it takes it out of you, but when you make a decision as a family to go all in and tell the story, just like Trudy's family, you've gone all in, you go all in, and you're all in forever. It's not like you can just say, oh, I'm over talking about this now. And I think it gives you, if there's something you can do, then it makes it a little bit more palatable to be able to talk about. If I was doing this for no other reason, then I don't think I could cope. I think that the thing that we want to champion is not only the awareness of ovarian cancer, but for me personally, I would love to see more support given to the optimal health program that the Ovarian Cancer Australia is running, and have that protocol and procedure in every single medical centre. I still go to my medical centre on the Gold Coast, and there's over 30 doctors in that medical centre, and there is still not a poster on the wall to say these are the signs of ovarian cancer. I can't believe that. My sister, the first time she saw that was when she was going up to surgery for her debulking surgery, and it was on the elevator wall. Why at this time that we still don't have those posters on the wall? And it's because there's not enough awareness. Ovarian Cancer Australia hasn't got the media profile yet, or the profile that Breast Cancer Australia has. But that's okay, we're going to get there, and it just means that they need to have lots of minions on the ground to do a lot more work that they can't actually do, and that's what Trudy's doing now. And when I landed yesterday into Mackay, and I've had the choice of going lazing around the pool or go and hang out with Trudy, and I thought I really want to go meet this woman whom I've never met but felt like I knew my whole life after one phone call. But you all know that, she's that kind of person. I didn't. So when I turned up at the hospital, she's hooked up to a Verve and she's having meetings here and she's talking about this and she's multitasking as women do best. But then I thought, no, I want to hang out, I want to learn about what she does and what your community does and what I can then go home and do more of on the Gold Coast for Ovarian Cancer of Australia. And you know what, when I left there, I thought, what's my learning today? Because we need to learn something every day. And my learning today was, Trudy taught me to let go of the fear and keep moving. Because fear paralyses us. And when we have fear and we are paralysed, we're not moving. And so Trudy said, I haven't got time, I'm just going to keep moving. So there's no fear. And so I think that's the message for all of us. Live your life with no fear and just keep moving. And I think, so although my sister's not here today and my mum's not here today, they actually are. They're always here. I said to my husband when I was outside, I get really nervous about talking in front of so many people. And so I was out there and he was giving me a bit of a pep talk and I just said, I don't know where this is taking me. This always keeps popping up. You think that you're over it, and I've had 10 years, everyone's died, I'm cancer-free now, let's just have a rest. Let's get bored, let's have normality. And he said, this is your normality. This is your journey, this is your path, and you can't not be on that trip. You just got to be on that trip. So we're all on that trip with you, and we're just going to make ovarian cancer something that everyone talks about. So with that, there's just one other thing I wanted to share with you, because there is this thing of survivor guilt that everyone feels at some point in their life. It might be a family member, or it might be a friend, or it might be you're just one of those hearts that you see that you cry the Kleenex tissue ads on TV and you have this, oh, that should have been me and I wish I could help. So there's a thing about survivor guilt, and my sister Veronica, who she's an actor and a writer, and she's so much better at doing this stuff than me. But she said, well, I had a bit of a brainstorm with her, and she said this to me yesterday, and I thought, you know what, this is really, really true. And I didn't realise, and I really thank her for sharing with me. So I'm going to read what she told me to say. Because I did feel really guilty. I felt really guilty when, you know, my baby sister and my mum and my dad and, you know, everyone else got cancer, and I'm the big elder sister. And I'm like, no, this is not happening. I want to be that person. And I felt terribly guilty. And when we did our documentary about BRCA2, and I was the face of the awareness campaign, I felt even more guilty, because here I am getting all this attention, having my breasts off and my ovaries out, and I didn't even have cancer. I'm like, oh, I felt like a fraud. So it was actually quite a weird space for me to be in. But you know what? I learned so much with watching 3 people in my family die. And so the survivor guilt turned into a survivor privilege. And this is what Bronnie said: given the privilege and the grace to accept our own mortality because of the journey that our family members went through, to accept their own death and the way that they showed so much grace in their journey, it showed me great lessons on how to die. And in doing so, taught me great lessons in how to live, because we are forever dying. So it's really about how you live. So live well. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Chrissy Pinkins. Isn't she inspirational? Absolutely. And to Trudy and to everybody else, you guys are working hard. You guys are making